So I'm hearing this thing. It's this phrase that gets used a lot amongst black YouTubers and on black social media. I hear it more spoken than written. So I hear it more in YouTube, within the black YouTube sphere, than I do on black Twitter or on Facebook, etc. And that phrase is Pookie and Ray Ray. Now, Pookie and Ray Ray, for those who don't know, there is no textbook definition. There never is a textbook when it comes to black slang. But uh, the connotation is that Pookie and Ray Ray are the ghetto people of black society. Pookie and Ray Ray are supposed to be the gangbangers, the drug dealers, the knuckleheads, the thugs, the miscreants, the wayward people in black society. And this phrase is being used so loosely that Pookie and Ray Ray is just becoming synonymous with black men. And my problem is twofold. One, even if Pookie and Ray Ray was used to refer to a very specific group of black men, it's a very insulting, misleading, belittling, demeaning, dehumanizing way that we describe our own people. And it's really made up from another subgroup in the black community, which is the uppity black suck-up. The uppity black suck-up, or the aspiring uppity black suck-up, are two of the worst people in the black community. The uppity black suck-up has had other names, such as the talented 10th, Blavity Blacks, House Negro, Sellout. And let me go further into that. Pookie and Ray Ray is a roundabout way for uppity black people in the community, or those who think that they are worthy of being uppity black people, to say nigger. That's what Pookie and Ray Ray really means. And what I mean by that is the word nigger really has no meaning. Nigger just means black people. And the big trick with nigger that a lot of niggers have not figured out is that there is no way as a black person that you can not act like a nigger. That's the trick. It's a means to control you. If somebody calls you a name, but they can't tell you what that name means, it's a trick. So if people call you nigger, and in order to not be, quote unquote, acting like a nigger, you do all these things that you think white folks do. And then you still get called a nigger and you're confused. That's because nigger has nothing to do with your behavior. I don't know how black folks haven't figured this out. And this goes out to all of the, everything in the black community would be fine if these Pookie and Ray Rays would just pull up their pants, black folk. If Pookie and Ray Rays just stopped buying Nike's weed and spinning rims, then black people would have trillions of dollars in quote unquote spending power, black people. Now, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I be sitting back. I sit back and I assess, but I can't really call what's in somebody's heart. Only I can see what's in their actions. I don't know if a lot of these black people really even care about the black community or want to see black people do better, or if they just realize that this is, preaching to the choir. You can get a lot of YouTube follows to making corny ass videos like that. You can get a lot of mm-hms from black people by just saying unchallenged, unresearched, unfounded bullshit like that. There's a lot of beliefs that a lot of black people have about black people that just a cursory evaluation reveals isn't even true. But not only do we wholeheartedly believe it because white folks told it to us enough times and it sounded good, but also because we want to believe it. Black folks believe some of the most horrible things about ourselves, and they don't even be true half the time. Black folks believe that black men don't take care of their kids because they believe that there are so many single mothers, when nobody even just stopped and went and looked and researched and found out, oh, single mothers just means unmarried mother. The father's actually always in the life of the child, usually, in a black family. They're just not married all the time. So single mother draws a picture in your head of some woman just doing everything by herself, and the child has no idea what the dad looks like. He's just out in them streets. But in reality, it just means unmarried mother. In many cases, the family lives together. In some cases, they co-parent. But in many more cases than not, an overwhelming majority, the kid technically lives in a two-parent household or has a two-parent arrangement. But let the stats tell it, 75% of black children have never seen their fathers at all. Black women reproduce asexually. Now, getting back to Pookie and Ray Ray. Now, let these people tell it. The black community is this roving utopia, not unlike Wakanda, where every black city has, flourishing, vibrant, successful black businesses with everything that you could ever need as a black person in the community. And all the black kids are highly educated. There's no STDs, there's no diseases, there's no birth defects. Child mortality rate is 0.00%. College admission rates 100%. But these goddamn Pookie and Ray Rays are just roving the streets like raptors in a fucking Jurassic Park movie, just eating people alive, just doing drive-by shooting. They're literally the only problem with the black community. If it wasn't for these damn Pookie and Ray Rays, it's just, man, just like you can be enjoying yourself at a regular African-American well-to-do picnic, then a Pookie and Ray Ray pops up. And see, it's that kind of dumbass logic that's been permeating for years in the black community. This idea that, see, black people don't like the fact that we're the world's Pookie and Ray Rays. The world dumps all of its ills and all of its problems on us. If America has a drinking problem, black folks drink too much. If America got a drug problem, black folks are drug addicts. If America's too violent, black people have toxic black masculinity. If America's having too many babies at a wedlock, it's black women's fault. The world does this. Every country in the world has their own personal, usually black group that they blame all their ills on. And that person, that group of people, is the whipping boy of that society. Even immigrants do it to us. We come here, we work hard, we take advantage of all our opportunities, unlike those lazy blacks, when we let y'all asses in the country. Even other black people within the diaspora do it. Caribbean black people are pretty much the creators of colorism. If you are a black person on a Caribbean island, they literally assign to you what kind of life you're going to have based on how light or how dark you are. Much of the paper bag testing done in HBCUs back in the day was done by Caribbean black folk. Look at any successful Caribbean black person you ever see outside of entertainment and sports. Look at every successful Caribbean black person. They're always super light skinned. They had a different kind of slavery over there. Whenever you hear about, oh, black people own slaves, that's usually the Caribbean blacks. Because there was black people and there were coloreds. Same with the Afro-Latinos. There's black people and then there's coloreds. Mixed people, mulattoes that don't consider themselves black people and never did until we just started reshuffling the deck recently. And we call everybody that has a black phenotype black. But yeah, they have their Pookie and Ray Rays in their nations. They just call them the dark-skinned people. Everybody on Hispaniola, the Dominican and Haiti. They call their dark-skinned people Haitians, even when they're not Haitian. And they hate them. Now here in America, black Americans have gotten sick and tired of being everybody's Pookie and Ray Ray. So what we decided to do was to create our own Pookie Ray Ray within the group, which is a dumbass idea. So the whole point of Pookie and Ray Ray is for black people to be able to have a sin eater within the group that absorbs all of the bad publicity, all of the bad press that black people suffer. It's Pookie and Ray Ray. High school dropout rates, Pookie and Ray Ray. Teen pregnancy, Pookie and Ray Ray. Poor health due to bad diet, diabetes, sickle cell anemia, Pookie and Ray Ray. And more so over, we're not allowed to say what makes a Pookie and Ray Ray. According to uppity black people doctrine, Pookie and Ray Rays are completely self-contained. None of them come from single households. None of them had a hard life. None of them come from Section 8. None of them have been in jail. Or if they've been in jail, they totally earned it themselves. When none of them have had missing opportunities or hardships in their life that create a Pookie and Ray Ray. Pookie and Ray Rays are completely self-contained. They spawn and respawn out of thin air in the hood like a extra numerous character in a video game. We have no idea who makes them. We don't know who raised them. Now, don't this sound like some shit a white supremacist would say? That there's a group of evil, bad black people that run around like the untethers in Us. They don't talk, they just grunt and they do violent stuff. They're not human. They don't have a reason for how they got this way. They just need to be dealt with. Because that's the next thing you hear a lot from a lot of these uppity blacks. You hear, oh, well, these Pookie and Ray Rays need to be eradicated or they need to be dealt. Niggas like talking like that because it makes them feel like the white man. Makes them feel like they're in charge of some shit. A lot of black people love doing all that black self-pity stuff, or not self-pity, but self-deprecating stuff and lambasting other black people because it makes them feel like they have some agency over the fuckery in their life. That's the thing a lot of black folks don't want to admit. If you admit that the reason why your life is fucked up is because another group of people have done so many things to you, then what you're low-key admitting is that another person has complete and total agency over you and you're subjugated, which is true. But that's a hard that's a hard load to bear. So it's easier and it makes you feel better to imagine in your mind that the problem is something different, something that you could theoretically control. And the fantasy becomes killing other black people. Which, for all the things pro-blacks talk about is self-hate, and all the black-on-black crime is self-hate, and oh, you do this, it's self-hate, you would think that an entire logic train, an entire train of thought that dwindles down to we need to kill more black people, would be seen as self-hate. But no. Let's completely make a straw man enemy that looks just like me and then advocate for killing all these people. Killing all these people in a group that I made up that has no real definition. Because what is a Pookie and Ray Ray? If I'm a drug dealer, am I a Pookie and Ray Ray? If I'm a gangbanger, am I a Pookie and Ray Ray? If I'm a jaywalker or a tax cheat or a cheater or a guy that beats my wife, am I a Pookie and Ray Ray? They say Pookie and Ray Rays are people that are detrimental to their community. If I'm a white dude and I'm a banker and I embezzle a bunch of money, or I'm a white guy and I'm a hedge fund manager and I embezzle a bunch of money and screw a bunch of people out of their investments and mess up their community, am I a Pookie and Ray Ray? If I'm a mass shooter and I go to my community and I shoot up, I don't know, for shits and giggles, let's just say I shoot 500 people, kill 50. Am I a Pookie and Ray Ray? I'm a white guy. I've shot 500 of my white compatriots in my community. Am I a Pookie and Ray Ray, or am I a lone wolf and we don't know what happened? If me and my gangbanger buddies in a motorcycle gang, remember, I'm still a white guy, me and my gangbanger buddies in a motorcycle gang decide to go to a Hooters and shoot shit up, because why not? I hit about 9 cops. No, I hit about 9 people. 9 people die. About 30 people get hit, including a couple of cops. We're having a shootout with a rival gang right in a public restaurant with the cops in front of us. Am I Pookie and Ray Ray? I'm not some upper crust blue collar criminal. I'm a tattoo having vest with the fucking badges on it, with the sigils on it. I'm a gangbanger. I'm a white boy. Am I Pookie and Ray Ray? I guess not, since they dropped all the charges for that. That was an actual crime. They dropped all the charges. Everything I said happened. 30 people shot, 9 people killed, a couple cops there got hit. Yeah, let's drop all the charges. So only in black society does there exist a subgroup of made-up people deemed to be the ills of the entire society. White folks don't even do that with the worst of their worst. Since we praise and try to copy everything they do. Because these same people that talk about Pookie and Ray Rays are also the same people that are white praisers. You know, the people that always, white folk are doing this, white folk doing it. You need to get like the white folk. But yeah, let's get back to, let's blame all of our ills in our community on this small subgroup of people who apparently are not smart enough to oppress us and hold us back, but just by sheer fuckery alone hold us back. There are no Pookie and Ray Rays in the black community. Within the black community, there are those who step outside the law. There are those who have behavior that is unbecoming. These people are miscreants, they are vagabonds, they are criminals in many cases. But let's not pretend like they're that because they're just mentally screwed up in the head. That they were just born this way, or not even born, cultivated from the ground up, grown out of the ground like a bunch of putties from the Power Rangers to be this way. That's dehumanizing people. I don't understand how black folks can get all up in arms about Super Predator and then proudly tout the phrase Pookie and Ray Ray like it's fucking funny, like they're not the same goddamn thing. They're the exact same thing. It's a made-up subgroup within a group of people with no origin, no explanation, that just paints them as dangerous and just inherently dangerous for who they are. And not only that, the label can be changed and added to different people or removed. The definition can be changed. The goal line can be kicked down and moved over to mean anything. Pookie and Ray Ray is no different than Dusty Beta Male, Shea Butter, Moist. It's just a way to name people you don't like. There was a white politician from, I believe, Minnesota. He's, I think his last name is Page or LePage, but he's known for saying some pretty off-color stuff about black people and Latinos, but mainly black folks. And now he lives in an area, and he is a politician in an area that is like 90% white. And they had a serious heroin epidemic out there. Prescription drugs and heroin. Now this man went on a podium and with having 90+% white constituents said that the problem of their heroin addiction and their prescription drug overdose was caused by imaginary drug dealers named T-Dog who come across the state lines and sell white people drugs. So you can't accept that there's a big percentage of a chance that your problem is self-contained, that white folks is probably selling drugs to other white folks because there's no Negroes around to blame it on. He just made up some Negroes. Now T-Dog, the guy he made up, is no different than Pookie and Ray Ray, because they're both people who don't exist, whose whole premise is to be the scapegoats for somebody else. There are no Pookies and Ray Rays in the black community. The entire black community is Pookie and Ray Ray. This is something that a lot of black folks in America do not understand. You do not get to be a talented 10th. You do not get to be a special Negro. If you talk shit about us, you're talking shit about yourself. You're like that dude that talks shit about his girl to people and then gets surprised when some nigga is banging your girl. You think people really want you to be having them be their shoulder to cry on about your personal business like that? All that's going to do is let somebody know you don't value that person. You're that girl that's always talking shit about her dude to your homegirls, and then your dude get caught messing with one of your homegirls. You talking shit about your job and how you about to leave that job and how that job ain't shit. You ain't got no new job lined up. Then you come to work one day on a Monday after you've been talking shit all Friday and the weekend then blew by, and they want to call you into the office because you got reported to HR. Now they're letting you go. You are the enemy camp to everybody. You can't go to nobody complaining about soldiers in your camp. That just gives them the intel that you're weak. You have division in your ranks. And you're the nigga to go tell. Only we do this to each other. You don't never hear Asian women are the #1 group that'll date outside their race. Asian women date white men almost as much as they date Asian men. But you never notice, you'll never catch an Asian woman really talking shit about Asian men. You'll never catch a Hispanic woman talking shit about Mexican men like that. It's not part of the culture. White women will say men, and it's assumed when white women say men, they're talking about white men because that's who they're predominantly with the most. But you'll never hear white women call out white men as compared to other groups of men. You only hear black women do that because they're so happy to finally have an option of another group of men liking them. Only black dudes voluntarily talk shit about black women when they date outside the race. Like they're dating every white woman, having dated that one white woman who's nice to them. Every black dude who dates outside the race that starts talking shit about black women talks as if they're riding home from summer camp. Like they're the first nigga to ever date a white woman. Dear black people, I have met this wonderful white woman. These people are nice. Did you know that when you go to restaurants with a white person, they always pick up the tab? It's like reparations. I'm through with black women. I don't want no sapphire. Dark women bring dark days. The end. I'm never coming back. Goodbye, black community. Signed, this black person. Like, who the fuck asked you what it was like dating a white woman? Who asked you to advertise? Only black folks talk shit about their community like that. Go look at a Latino community. People talk like these Latinos got it all figured out, like their communities are just as ghetto as ours, but with Mexican music. People act like you go into a Mexican community and it's this hustling, bustling utopia. It's not. It'd be just like a black ghetto, but with Mexican stuff. You moved all the way to here to America to be in your own ghetto here. But you don't never hear Mexicans complaining about, I mean, think about it. There's whole Mexican cartels in America. Whole Mexican cartels in Mexico that just be killing mayors, killing police officers, paying niggas off. The whole country corrupt. Whole country. Whole Latino countries that are just corrupt from drug cartels. You don't never hear Mexicans say that shit. You don't never hear Latinos say that shit. Asians be having all kinds of illegal activities in their businesses. Asians are some of the biggest slumlords in America. They do other Asians in. Be having living situations that are downright unsafe and unsanitary. Their businesses, they be doing all kinds of shady shit. There was a woman just a couple of weeks ago who got busted using street pigeons as part of her damn Chinese food and not telling people. It's a known joke. But you don't never hear Asians talk shit about other Asians. Asians be having straight up beef with other Asian countries, and you don't hear shit. When's the last time you seen a North Korean, South Korean beef spill over in America? Or a China versus Japan beef, or a Chinese versus Taiwanese beef? They all got active beef with each other, from the governments on down. You don't hear none of that shit. I'm gonna tell you another thing. The Latinos in America and the Latinos that are trying to get in America do not get along. I'm talking about the Mexicans that have made it in America and are citizens do not like the Mexicans. You would think the way they try to portray it, like all Mexicans are united on it, or all Latinos are united on immigration. No, a lot of them are like, look, man, I got in here the right way. All y'all sneaking in make me look suspicious. You got people asking me for my ID. I'm tired of getting harassed because of Mexicans like you. Come in the right way like I did. I got to do all this shit to become a citizen. I moved here and sacrificed so my kids can be born here and be citizens, and then your ass is just going to rush the border? Oh, hell no. You're going to get us all kicked out. They don't say that shit, though. That's why you think they're all united. They don't say that shit. Why would you step on another Mexican? Publicly. You ain't never going to hear no Miguel and Alejandro. And them niggas be the biggest key pushers in the world. You ain't never going to hear about Wong Pong and Jinping being a problem with none of them Asian countries. Because them niggas be like, look, man, we ain't going to go talking to the enemy now. That's just stupid. That's not even unity. That's just common sense. Pookie and damn Ray Ray. You one step above being Pookie and Ray Ray. It's like when black folks make fun of other black folks for being broke, but the stats show that we're all pretty much broke. That's like being afraid of running into somebody at the secondhand store. Nigga, you're at the secondhand store too. There are no Pookies and Ray Rays. This is regular ass black folks. I'm going to sign out on that one. But I'm going to keep on putting more and more of these black dictionary terms. I think I'm going to make my own little separate category for these videos because they're going to be pretty short. But I just want to do black vernacular definitions of stuff and point out how some of these terms are fucking stupid. Pookie and Ray Ray. Every time I hear a nigga say Pookie and Ray Ray in a debate, I love to stop at what is a Pookie and Ray Ray? I always get a different answer. There's a thematic continuity. There's definitely a theme to it, and it just means a black person who failed. What the hell? You made up a category. Pookie and damn Ray Ray. I don't got no more to speak on that BS, man. I'm going to just have the next one up soon. Y'all stay listening.